jumping back a little bit to training, because I know a lot of people watching this, they're new recruits, so they're always wondering like, what's the training like? And for you, I know it was in 2002, so things might have changed a little bit, but if you don't mind just kind of walking us through what it was like for you back then.
Basic was interesting. I didn't really appreciate basic until I was probably on the bus heading to Borden from Saint Jean. Um, I hit the Christmas break, so I got to kind of do half of, what was it, week 8, I think it was. I did it kind of half Monday to Wednesday, and then we had Thursday to clean up. Friday we were gone for Christmas break, and then we came back and it was kind of get back into things. So, but basic was one of those things that I tell people, it's like when you're in it, it kind of sucks. There's moments that it kind of sucks. The sooner you figure out how to play the game, the better off you'll be. Uh, I joined at 30, so I was a little older. So one thing that I had that I figured out very quickly was that on lower rank inspections, things weren't quite so bad. Like when it was the course warrant or the commandant or somebody, we made sure everything was like as good as we could get it. But when the master corporal or master bombardier was coming through, I learned quickly that leave something for him to yell at you about, and then he leaves you alone.
That's like...
So we weren't allowed to eat technically. We weren't supposed to eat in our rooms in the Mega in Saint Jean. So one day what I did was I took a Snickers wrapper and I put it in my DEU jacket pocket. And he stuck his hand in the pocket and lost his ever-loving mind. And then he left. And my inspection was about 5 seconds. So it worked out well. Yeah. It was basic was one of those things that in the middle, I remember getting on so I took a train from Toronto to Montreal and then a bus. I think I called the master corporal on the bus, sir, at least twice. Maybe the third time he yelled at me. I remember going on the bridge, going over the St. Lawrence, looking out the window thinking, what the hell am I doing? Like, what am I doing? But like I said, at the end of it all, on the bus to Borden, we had a good time on the bus and a lot of great memories, and made a lot of you make really close, fast friends. Just because it's a high stress thing and you figure things out really quickly. From there, we go to Borden for my trade and do our QL3s, trade training, basic trade training. And that is for material management tech. That's all on computers. You're in a computer lab, you're learning. Back then it was slightly painful because they have to go at the level of the lowest person. So we were literally starting at, okay, you take your mouse to the bottom left corner and click on start. And then it's like, are you kidding me? But that's just, you have to teach that way because you don't know where everybody is.
Right.
From there, we're posted. So then I was posted to Edmonton. And then you ideally move around to different sections to learn different parts of your trade, kind of your OJT or QL4 qualification. I went overseas from my first tour to Afghanistan, 2006, and I worked in customer service overseas. That was excellent. I learned a lot about the trade in that job. I think that job really set me that I had picked the right trade and that I wanted to do this for my career. I came home from that and I got posted to one CER, one combat engineer regiment in the RQMS there, and that was fantastic as well. And then we go on our QL5s training back to Borden. So I went back to Borden for QL5s, and that once you've done that, you're basically a qualified MMT, and usually a corporal. Excuse me. From there, bounced around. I went to Trenton, got promoted to Master Corporal. And then once I got promoted to Sergeant, the last course in Borden for our trade is your QL6s. But all of our trade training is in a computer lab behind a computer doing working in the supply system
Right.
to learn the job in that regard. The field stuff, you get that education in the field when you're out there doing things. And yeah, and it's been great. I mean, yeah, I've sat in trenches from 2 to 4 and 4 to 6. I honestly can't tell you which shift is better or worse. They're both not fun.
Mhm.
Um, but it's part of the job and it's what we do.